Check. Testing. Welcome, guys. Let's see the camera. 1 second. We're starting in a second. I actually need to do one thing. I'll be back. Give me 1 second. Let's see, there we go. Perfect. We're back, guys. I need to adjust the camera. You know, we were in Dubai with the entire team last week. That's why, unfortunately, we didn't have the show. And I need to get back my settings. Give me 1 second. I need to tilt it a bit more. Let me tilt it, and we'll be back. There you go. There you go. Perfect, guys. We're back online, streaming as always each and every week at 6 p.m. Central European time. But last week we had actually a team meeting in Dubai. It was the first time we met our team. You know that in Moralis SaaS platform we are approximately 70 people, and we built this team in under a year. And we've never met. That's the thing. We're fully remote. We've never met. And in this Q&A, I will start by preaching a bit about how to become a Web3 developer. Because if you want to work in Web3, you have to take the chance now. You have to take the chance now because as this industry develops, as this industry becomes bigger, the more chances you have to do something great if you start now. If you start, let's say, in 2 years, in 5 years, it's already gonna be kind of too late. Why? Because too many people are gonna be here. And that's the brilliant thing about Web3 right now. Because right now, we're in a time where most people still don't understand what we're doing. They don't know what is going on, and there's a lot of misinformation. There are many people think that this is some kind of, you know, scam industry, this and that. We still have that from the cryptocurrency legacy, and of course Web3 is based on crypto. Although that is disappearing now, many people understand that crypto is used for great things. Just look at what was happening in Ukraine and how Web3 is helping there with donations, and Ukraine can actually now do an airdrop. It's crazy, but Ukraine is gonna do an airdrop, and it really shows you the power of crypto. Because of course, if you donate to Ukraine, you get an airdrop. It is like a badge of honor that you help them, win this struggle. Of course, now more and more people are understanding this. Now more and more people are coming to their realization that Web3 is here to stay, but it's still gonna take a few years for the mainstream to understand that. And this is the great opportunity. When the mainstream misunderstands something, that's a big opportunity. That is arbitrage. And let me show you, by the way, here is this airdrop they're gonna have. I mean, it's crazy, and this is confirmed. I mean, that's confirmed 100%. It started that they accepted donations in crypto, and now everyone who donates either gonna get some kind of token or some kind of NFT. But of course, that fuels the demand to donate because you want to get that badge of honor. So just some comments on the recent news with Web3 helping out and making a big difference. Because of course, what's happening in Ukraine, it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely, and it has really disrupted everything that happens in my life, for example, because it's impossible to not pay attention, and it's very, very difficult to not get distracted and follow what's happening there. Also, as you know, personally, I was born in Belarus, so I have traveled a lot in Ukraine. When I was a kid, and then when I was a kid we moved to Sweden, so I know a lot of these places that are now completely bombed to the ground. So it is quite personal to see all of that, although I've never been there since 15 years, 16 years. But when I was a kid I was there. So anyway, now let's start with discussing how to become a Web3 dev. Then we're gonna go to Q&A. Then, as you know, we did have a weekly challenge for this week, and that was to build something using the Web3ui Kit. And we do have some submissions that I'm gonna show you. We're gonna give away our own NFT, and then we're also gonna go into the news, updates, and so on and so forth. So guys, welcome everyone who is here, and let me go into the Blackboard because that's where I will show you the most important things. Let me see if I can have my cam here somehow. I remember I had it. Yeah, I need to tinker with my setup after this. Oh, yeah, there he is. Let's see, I have it like this, and then in the past I could also make a circle. Do I still have the circle? Let's see. I don't have the circle. Anyway, I need to tinker a bit afterwards to get my setup back. You see, I'm gone for a week. All the setup disappears almost. So to start being a Web3 developer, you first need to have a solid understanding of JavaScript. I think that's a must, by the way, that you know JavaScript. Why? Because Web3 in itself has a lot of Web2 elements. So if you're completely new, you don't know anything about programming, I would say the first thing you need to learn is JavaScript, because this will allow you to create front ends. For example, you want to create a website, you need JavaScript. You want to create a mobile app, you can use JavaScript. You want to create some other front end, you can probably use JavaScript for it. So in all Web3, you still need front end. You still need devices that people use the dapps on. You use your dapp on the web browser, or you use it on your mobile phone. You use it somewhere. So JavaScript is unescapable. That's why Web3 and Web2, you cannot separate them. The skills that are needed in Web2, they're also needed in Web3, because Web3 is by definition, it's an addition to Web2. It's not a complete remaking of the web. It's an addition. So you need the basics. For example, you need JavaScript to create the front end, but also you need JavaScript to code backend. So if you use Moralis to speed up your development, you know that you write cloud functions in JavaScript, and those cloud functions are backend code. They are executed on the backend. So JavaScript is really the number one language I think everyone needs to learn to create front end, to create backend, and then once you know JavaScript, the next step to make your code actually quality code, you need to learn TypeScript. And this is, by the way, what's coming to Moralis in a few months, that we're gonna have fully typed support. So you can write cloud functions, and then in the SDK you have fully typed support for all types that you have created in your cloud function. You're gonna see we're working on some major things when it comes to dev experience, and when it comes to making it easy for you to create Moralis dapps as you've never done before. And one of the most important things that we're working on right now is full TypeScript support, in terms of you writing something and then getting all types into your SDK and interacting with your backend in a fully typed way. It's insane. But if you are watching this and you only know JavaScript and you don't know TypeScript, I highly recommend that you start getting into TypeScript, because at the end of the day, you can do a lot in JavaScript, but as soon as something that you build, something that you've worked on becomes a big project, and you don't have types, and you need to look up the data structures all the time, you need to look up how the different objects are structured, whether it is a response type, whether it is some kind of input type. You need to know TypeScript so you can actually start naming your different data structures. It's not just objects. Because in JavaScript, you know, everything is an object. You need to put in some inputs into a function, probably it's going to be some objects you need to send in. Or you're expecting some kind of output, probably there's going to be an object you're going to get as output from an API call or some kind of function. But with TypeScript, for the first time ever, you can have types on it. So you know, okay, this object that I'm going to get back from this function, going to look like this, with these fields, with these types, with these mandatory fields, with these optional fields. And then this other function will have another input and another output typing. So that's major. And of course, if you are coming from Web2, this is not news for you. You know it already. So all in all, to summarize, JavaScript number one, you're starting completely from scratch. You don't know anything at all about programming. So that's number one. You can do front end and back end, and then level up to TypeScript. You can do exactly the same things. I mean, you can do front end and back end with TypeScript, but it's gonna be better. So that's number one. Let me summarize it. And we haven't even started with crypto yet. So once you know this, you can start building great things already in Web3, because using Moralis, you use traditional web technologies such as JavaScript, such as TypeScript, in order to create dapps where you can log in users, you can get their assets, you can authenticate them in many different ways, as you know. Let me show you. And for all of you who have not seen this website, you go to docs.moralis.io, and then, for example, you can see users, Web3 authentication, and how to log in a user with MetaMask. You see it's one line of code, and you can log in them with MetaMask, and when they log in, they're gonna show up in your backend. By the way, I do have a sneak peek, if I can show you some sneak peek. I mean, one of the things is that we used a template to create this dashboard, and many people have been asking us, what kind of color scheme is this? Why is it like green, and you know, why did we choose this color scheme, like gray, green? And why did we not pick something that is more, I don't know, modern, or more that, you know, that actually looks like somebody put time into it? and styled it. Let me show you a sneak peek that we're working on, and this is almost done. I mean, we're gonna release it soon. Let me show you. I mean, this is the new version of the dashboard that is gonna come. It's not gonna be this, you know, green, green. This is a sneak peek of what's coming, and we hope to release it quite soon because at the end of the day, you spend a lot of time here, and there is really, we did not at all anything with the default template, but now we're actually branding it. We're making it look like Moralis. So that's coming. But I know many people ask us, hey, Ivan, know what's up with that design. But anyway, you log in user, you get their information already in your database, as you know, in the Moralis database. And soon this database is gonna look even nicer, as you have seen. You can log in them using Wallet Connect easily. It's just one line of code, as you can see right here. You just specify provider Wallet Connect. Then you go to Web3. You can log in users with email and Google authentication and all of that. That also works easily, and you will be able to get a wallet based on that with our Web3 auth authentication, which is an integration or magic. But you know this already if you have used Moralis. With easy, the result, the summary is this: with simple JavaScript, you have gone from not knowing anything about crypto to actually being able to build crypto using Moralis, where you can log in users on the different chains, you can fetch their assets, you can display assets, you can display all the on-chain data, you can initiate transfers, you can do so many things, and you can go to docs.moralis.io to read more if you want. So this is the brilliance that we wanted to bring to the Web3 space, that even if you know basic JavaScript, you know basic TypeScript, you can already do a lot. And many dapps in this space, they're not even touching the smart contract development side, because many smart contracts, they are there on the blockchain, and it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel if you want to do trading, let's say. You don't have to build your own trading contract. You can use OneInch or you can use Paraswap, and it's just a Moralis plugin and you already use them. So our roadmap long-term is to ensure that everything that is important on chain can be accessible through TypeScript and JavaScript as a Moralis plugin. So this is our long-term roadmap. And you know, one big part of Moralis has always been the plugin store. And we already during the summer, we thought that we would be able to release it. And it's been ready for quite some time. But the problem is this, that we are iterating so much in Moralis itself that we don't want to release the plugin store until we have a version that we know is going to be the same for next 10 years, all right? For next 5 to 10 years. So that's why we're still waiting with that, because we want to add TypeScript to Cloud Functions, want to improve the way Moralis works even more, so that when we launch the plugin store, we know that the plugins that are made today, they're gonna work in 5 years. It's not gonna be that you need to all the time adjust your plugin to make it work with latest versions. So that's an important consideration that we had to make before releasing the plugins. But of course, the future of Moralis is very, very vibrant plugin ecosystem. And with that, you can access most of the smart contracts, most of the important on-chain things without even knowing how they work. You just call a JavaScript function and it just happens. That's our goal, that ideally you shouldn't have to touch on-chain. Now, you need to touch on-chain in case you want to program your own money flows. So it's all about you defining new ways that money and assets can be transferred. And normally when you're creating a dapp, this is approximately 10 to 15% of your development time. That you're doing something on-chain, you're creating new smart contracts, and most of your time will go to off-chain. For example, getting data from the blockchain, getting everything in your database. And Moralis simplifies that a lot. But let's say that you want to build something on-chain. Then you need to pick which chain. There are different families of blockchains. So you have the EVM family, which is the biggest by far, where you have ETH, Polygon, Avalanche, a bunch of other different blockchains that have the same technical standard, which is Ethereum virtual machine, and many of them are just forks with some parameter changes. Binance Chain also. By the way, Binance Chain now rebranded to BNB Chain. They are now BNB Chain. Then you have to select either you want to do in this family, and then it's all compatible across different chains, or you want to do some other family like Elrond or like Solana, which are smaller but growing quite quickly, especially Solana during the past year, as you know, has grown a lot. That's the next choice, where you put your smart contract. And the no-brainer choice would be to put it on EVM, because you know that this is not going anywhere. Whether Solana or Elrond will be here in 5 years, it's still up to debate, because we've seen many such projects in the past, whether it is EOS, whether it is Tezos, whether it is Tron, whether it is this, or, well, Tron is EVM. But all of these different platforms, they seemed big in the beginning. They seemed very successful in the beginning, but then they all kind of disappeared. And this is still unproven, whether new non-EVM chains will be able to root themselves or not. But we believe that they will be able to root themselves. That's why, for example, we have an API integration with Solana and more integration coming soon. And that's why we're also exploring Elrond. So we believe that there is a future for all these different chains, because if developers are there, Moralis is also there. But now that you've picked which family you want to develop on, this will decide your programming language of choice. So if you pick the EVM family, you need to learn Solidity, which is a language that seems kind of like JavaScript, but it is very different as well. And especially if you watch the last live stream, we discussed how if you want to optimize for gas, Solidity really becomes weird. You know, it's kind of like platypus, all right? You know, let me show you. So Solidity is a fascinating language because it may deceive you. It looks so similar to JavaScript. Then you actually start working. It looks kind of like a duck, but it's not a duck, okay? It looks kind of like C++ or C#, but it's not. So it's kind of like a mixture of everything and also a mixture of its own thing. This is Solidity in a nutshell. It's easy to get started with, very difficult to master, Solidity. This is what I can tell you. It's easy to get started with, very difficult to master. Then, on the other hand, if you choose the Solana ecosystem, you have Rust, which you can argue is a bit more mature ecosystem, because Rust comes from non-blockchain. It is a programming language that blockchains have adopted, such as Solana, while Solidity is developed specifically for EVM. So you can say that Rust has a bit more mature ecosystem, probably more libraries, probably more development resources, and so on and so forth. And this is something to consider in the future. I mean, how will this be in the future? Right now, Solidity is the clear winner in blockchain space. Although Rust is bigger globally, when you look only on blockchain space, Solidity is the number one. It's not even close. But globally, Rust is way bigger than Solidity, so it's not even close. So the question is if Solana will be able to attract all the developers into its ecosystem that already know Rust before they go and learn Solidity and they really become active in the EVM space. So choosing language is, of course, one aspect. Another aspect is the usability. You can argue that Solana is way more usable right now because very fast transactions, it's very smooth, everything is like magic. If you haven't tried Solana and you only have used EVM chains, you should try it because it is snappy AF. It is snappy AF to use it. At the same time, the problem is, of course, centralization, decentralization. Solana has been stuck for days sometimes. So it's a debate that will never end, and the market will tell us. And I don't know the answer, which one is gonna be big. That's the best thing being a developer. Being a developer, you never have to choose really. This technology or that technology, you can learn both. I mean, that's the thing. Start with Solidity, create some smart contracts, go to Rust, go to Solana, create something there. The most important thing about programming is that you understand the basics. You understand what a loop is, what is an integer, what is an array, what is a class, what is an object, what is a function. You start learning these basics, you can learn any programming language. So when people start debating, oh, Solana is better, this is better, nobody knows. It's so many pros and cons with all of them that you don't know. Elrond, my belief, I haven't myself tried programming on Elrond, but I believe it is Rust also. You guys can correct me in the chat, but I believe that Elrond is Rust. Let's actually check out some Elrond smart contracts. Elrond smart contract tutorial. So Elrond is very interesting because they are a bit isolated right now, but they have a lot of plans. I know that. They have a lot of plans. Rust, yeah, exactly. It is Rust. The Elrond magic. Yeah, it is Rust, but it's a bit different way of writing. It's not like Solidity in terms of writing smart contracts. They're using the same language, but it's not the same way that you can just copy paste Elrond smart contracts across. But what is interesting is that Rust is really becoming the go-to language for many chains. And it's going to be interesting to see how the language game develops in the blockchain space. You know that in EVM, we're going to have eWASM. When is that coming by? So this is a bit into the future, but you know that Ethereum is moving towards eWASM. And eWASM is going to be a redesign of the EVM to use WebAssembly, right? And WebAssembly, of course, you can use Rust, C++, C. Basically, in many traditional languages, you can use it. And this is based on WebAssembly. And I'm not sure about the timeline for this, because I've already heard about this years ago, and we still don't have it. But potentially, before 2025, we will get this eWASM in Ethereum. It's going to be a new version of the execution environment. The question is, how is it going to be with the current execution environment, whether they're going to be in parallel. This is interesting. Basically, they compare with other architectures, with LLVM, which is used by Apple. But yeah, it's C++, but I think I saw LLVM a lot when I was doing iOS development. Always something with LLVM. ECMA, JVM, but yeah, Oracle kind of killed it. And they decided on eWASM. So EVM, we own it. It can evolve. Bad, we own it. We will need to maintain. And yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. We can incorporate one and other tech as appropriate. So this is the decision process that Ethereum went through. How to upgrade the execution environment from the current EVM to something better. And they picked eWASM. So in the future, look, maybe we will not even use Solidity. But the worst thing you can do right now is to focus too much on the correct choice. I mean, I hate when people do that. They are new to programming. They don't know anything about programming. And then they think for like a week where to start. Should they learn C++ or Rust or blockchain or this? And they're completely stuck in the paralysis analysis. The analysis of paralysis. Paralysis of analysis. They analyze for months which language they're going to pick. And in that time, they could already have learned Solidity, for example. They could have done that and then move to Rust and then move to something else. So never ever just go for Solidity. I'm telling you, don't even analyze anything. And then you can take it from there. But if you're completely new to programming, you don't know anything about programming, go for JavaScript. Don't even think about anything else. Just go for it. You will figure out the rest. Because people need easy answers. They need easy solutions. I mean, the worst thing is when somebody asks, hey, which programming language should I learn? And you give them like a big overview and you give them like a bunch of information, a bunch of choices, because you're giving them paralysis analysis. This poor guy or girl, now they're going to compare, Python or JavaScript. They're going to be comparing them for weeks. Instead, just tell them, learn JavaScript. And I know that Python also is a great language. Every time I learn JavaScript, I have 5 people, 10 people telling me, hey, no, learn Python. Here is why you should not learn Python when you are new. With Python, you cannot show anything to your friends. Look, I learned Python. Where is my UI? Where is my shiny buttons? Where is my website? I cannot even send the link to my Python creation that I just did in one day. So this is the magic of JavaScript. Is it the best language? There are many flaws to it. You need TypeScript to duct tape it, to band-aid it, to work. But at least you can show things very quickly, and that's motivation. When you are a noob, you're creating great things and you can show them, you can show off, that's the biggest motivation. So look, this is in terms of languages. To summarize, first JavaScript, TypeScript, then you can learn Moralis, so you can do great things already with just JavaScript and TypeScript. Then you learn Solidity, so you can learn EVM and you can learn Ethereum smart contracts. Next, you can learn Rust and other smart contracts if you want. So then you know in terms of languages, okay? Now, many people that come into space, even if they know how to build smart contracts, even if you know how to create things and build in the space, I think many people also don't understand the architecture of Web3. They don't understand the tech stack. Because in the traditional web, you do have your client, like the browser, and then you have the server, bam, bam, and they talk to each other. And when you come to blockchain, you hear that, okay, now your browser, instead of speaking to the server, now is gonna speak to this, magical unicorn, is gonna speak to the blockchain, okay? Now your browser is speaking to this magic blockchain with like sparkles. Now, you're still speaking to server, okay? You're still speaking to a server. Let me tell you how it is. So nothing has really changed in terms of how you're speaking, but it's a bit different from another perspective. Let me show you. So in blockchain, in Web3, your browser, when it speaks to a blockchain, it's also speaking to a server that has the entire blockchain in it, okay? It has a database, which is the blockchain. It basically has the full blockchain history in it, all right? This is what your browser is speaking to. And this server is called an RPC node. This is the most basic thing you can do. You can connect to an RPC node. In Moralis, you connect to a speedy node. You're basically gonna connect to a server that has the entire blockchain in it. And there are many of these different RPC nodes you can connect to, but in reality, the most important thing you have to understand is that it's not very different from just connecting to a normal server. And this server in turn, it's part of the blockchain network, so it speaks to a bunch of other RPC nodes and it syncs transactions from the network, this and that. But an RPC node is a server that is your gateway to blockchain. All right, so this is what you start with. When you come to crypto, you start and you connect to RPC node. You quickly realize that speaking to this RPC node, you cannot do a lot because this RPC node is very limited. It can just give you some basic information, some basic data. So it's way better to use Moralis here, where you get a lot of features, such as, for example, this sign-in, getting the information about the users, because there's a lot of work that you need to do on the RPC node in order to make it useful. You need to index it, you need to ensure you have data pipelines, you need to ensure that if you have a blockchain like Binance Chain where you have 2,000 transactions per second, to index everything, to put it into a database, to ensure that you know what assets your users have, what they have done, it really becomes a big data problem very, very quickly. And then you look at Solana, that's a whole other level. It's a whole other level. So really, if you are to speak directly to the RPC node, you need to be a data engineer. You need to have a full big data backend team to index it and to ensure it works. And with Moralis, we'll make it easy for you. So you just use simple JavaScript functions to get everything you need, whether it is to get assets, whether it is to get blocks, to get transactions, to get anything. You just use simple JavaScript. And by the way, for all of you guys who are watching, we are improving our docs a lot now. We're adding this that you can see JavaScript, TypeScript, you can see React, you can see Unity, we're gonna add soon. So for each platform that we support, for each framework, the idea is that we can add a tab here. So this is a new thing that is coming as well. So this is in terms of tools, that using Moralis, you basically get this window into the blockchain space that ensures you can move quickly and you can build quickly. And of course, with Moralis, you speak by using JavaScript and TypeScript. This is on a big level, the architecture, that you have the nodes, the RPC nodes, which is really just a server that has the entire blockchain, and it can tell you some basic data about the blockchain. But to make anything useful of it, you need a full backend yourself that you need to index and have big data team doing that. But Moralis does it for you if you use Moralis. So that's a big important thing. What else? What else should we discuss in terms of architecture, in terms of languages, and so on and so forth? A good question. So we don't need Solidity at all with Moralis. You need Solidity with Moralis if you write your own contracts. What I mean when I say that Solidity in the future probably is not going to be needed is because there is going to be a lot of templates. And I'm a true believer that in the future, you don't really need to create a lot of your own Solidity code. Why? Because rising Solidity is expensive, meaning that you need to have audits. You can make big mistakes. You're gonna lose hundreds of millions of dollars of your client funds. You're gonna probably it's gonna be difficult for you to get a team that can do it in a safe manner. So for the everyday developer, I doubt that we'll be writing that much Solidity. And that's why I think we're gonna have repositories. So for example, let me show you these guys. This ontology, I learned about these guys actually a few weeks back. But these guys are building something like NPM for smart contracts. Let me see if they have a nice explanation of this. NPM for smart contracts. They had a very nice article. This ontology NPM smart contracts. Just like you today, you don't read the basic things of the web. Okay. Yeah, I cannot find there. I can just tell you what it is. I spoke to the team. They're gonna be building that you can download a lot of templates, like thousands of different templates. And you can easily integrate them into your dapp using Moralis, for example, or using something else. But this is, I think, the future of Web3 development. You don't do a lot of Solidity, but right now you do need to write your own smart contracts, of course, if you want to define your money flows. And once you have smart contract, you can easily then connect to Moralis, and Moralis will index it and get all the data for you, and so on and so forth. So that's important. And when it comes to the future of Web3, it's also key to understand that we are on a collision course. The Web3 is merging together with Web2. What do we mean by that? Well, Web2, of course, is investing a lot in Web3. You have Facebook now being metaverse. You have Microsoft buying Blizzard, investing a lot in the metaverse as well. So at some point, we're going to see a big merge of Web3 and Web2. Because at the end of the day, even when you look at the Web3 experiences today, many of them are already being structured where you have your tech stack and you have blockchain and you can withdraw your funds if you want. But in many cases, people don't even want to do that. The gaming space is the best example of that. So one of the key areas of growth right now in crypto is gaming, right? And when you look at gaming, this audience and these developers, they want smooth onboarding. They want so that you can use their dapp without a wallet. You can sign up using an email. You can sign up using Web2 technologies. And then you will create a wallet in the game. You will be able to withdraw your real wallet in the game. This is a clear example of how already right now we have a big, important industry in Web3, which is gaming. And that industry is already a mixture. It's not pure Web3. Not pure Web3. It is a mixture between Web3 and Web2, where at the end of the day, you have your assets, you own your assets, but there are many Web2 technologies involved. And when we saw this big trend happening, that's when we also said to ourselves, hey, we need to ensure that Moralis devs can do the same. So that's why we integrated Web3 auth. For example, you can log in your users with email or any other like Twitter, Facebook, Google, and a wallet will be generated for them, for their email. And then you can allow them to withdraw to their fully self-hosted wallet. And Magic is a similar solution for that. So this is only the beginning, by the way. And many people also ask, but what about decentralization? Is it centralized or decentralized? And the way I look at it is very pragmatic. When it comes to your front end, when it comes to the back end of your application, it's inevitable that you need servers, you need data pipelines, you need the technologies that have been developed since the 80s to make the web work, all right? Especially looking at the fast performing chains like Solana or Binance Chain, it is impossible to make it fully decentralized, that everything is completely decentralized. It's not possible. Guys, it's not possible. Looking realistically, to be able to index all of this terabytes of data that is also created in real time and to make something useful out of it, you need massive infrastructure on the back end. And that's fine because at any point you have your assets. At any point you have your smart contracts. Everything that matters is on chain. All the keys are yours. But when it comes to making sense of blockchain data, it is a big data, massive problem that requires massive infrastructure. So this is key, and this is how I think it will happen, that we will have Web3 integrated in many Web2 experiences where you don't even notice it, but you can always withdraw. If you want, you can always withdraw to your wallet. What drawing tool? I just Googled the draw online and I found it. You can find as well. Nico, how do you manage time zone differences at Moralis? Is it a big issue if you try to organize meetings? So it's a great question. Especially it's a great question if you're interested in working in Web3, or if you're also interested in working at Moralis at some point, because we are fully remote. So way of working fully remote, of course, is very different than working normally. And in crypto, in Web3, I think if you're not fully remote, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So we are fully remote. We have people in over 35 countries in all time zones. In all time zones. From Asia to the US to Europe, in all time zones. So an important part of this is asynchronous work. What does it mean? It means that if you don't need a meeting, there is no meeting. If we can ensure that we communicate in writing, we have great procedures, we have great documentation, we have good ways of communicating in writing, that's the standard. So that if you miss a meeting, there is a recording. If you miss something, it's all documented. Everything that is said is documented. All the important things are documented. Does Moralis need data scientists? We do. I think we absolutely do, but it's more data engineer in terms of, analyzing the data. Let me see actually if we have an opening data. Exactly. Go to talent.moralis.io and there is data engineer. Exactly. Data engineer, and then I think we also had another one for analytics. It may be already filled. But anyway, we need that for sure. I think data engineer is the closest one we have right now. And we also, I think soon we will also open another one for analytics. And if you want, you can just click connect here. So go to talent.moralis.io, you click connect, and you can enter your email here, and then you will get emails when we have a new position. But anyway, coming back to this, async is very important. That as much as possible is in writing. We have great documentation. We have great ways of working. Everything is standardized. There are procedures. And this way, we can ensure that even if we are across the world, it doesn't matter. Because this also means that, because everyone is async and everyone can catch up and information is shared easily. But this, of course, means that you need to have top people that are self-motivated, that love Web3, that love Moralis. And this is the only way to make this work, of course, because we're fully remote. It is not that, we sit in an office together and you can see everyone and, there is this group working together. It's a lot your own responsibility to get things done. It's a lot your own responsibility to ensure that you move ahead each and every day. Even if you work in a time zone where maybe you're alone in the time zone. Maybe you're alone in whatever country you are. So this is important. And we've been very lucky with this, by the way. We've found such a great team, and a lot of it has to do that this space is mission driven. We're truly changing the world here. We're ensuring that internet has property rights. Because without Web3, as you know, if Web3 doesn't get big, then there is no property rights online. And we're going to be living in big tech dystopia. I see someone in the chat asking, how can I help you if I want to join? Go to talent.moralis.io, connect here if you want to get updated for new jobs, and you can see all of the different openings that we have right now. And I think we will have a data. Let me actually check now. I thought we had it because, let's see. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I checked where our data position went. Okay, perfect, guys. So yeah, that's how it works. Hope it makes sense. Sounds amazing if it works. From my experience, meetings are anyways a lot of time, really inefficient. Yeah, and look, this way of working, it's not something that we have fully invented ourselves. This is a really long tradition of making it work by different big companies like Automatic, who is behind WordPress, GitLab. So we're very inspired by these different remote first organizations that have paved the way. And in crypto, of course, you cannot do anything else than remote. I don't think it works because at the end of the day, the talent is remote. And this industry is crazy. You need best talent. You always need the best talent. So the best talent is remote and we have to be remote. Does Moralis have training for newbies? Yeah, you can Google Moralis course and you will find the course on YouTube for beginners. On that note, guys, let's go to the weekly challenge. Can I use Brownie with Moralis? We have Brownie tutorials. You can just search Brownie Moralis. You will find some tutorials on our channel, by the way, also. Bringing up the... So today we're giving away Moralis Maggie, right? We're giving away Moralis Maggie, and next week, winner. So the winner for next week is gonna get Moralis Mesmerizer in terms of NFTs. So you know that each week we are giving away NFTs. This is the only way to get them, through our weekly challenge. And this week's weekly challenge was about creating something with Web3ui Kit. And we do have a few submissions. So the first one is from Quadasau. So Krashmir, I hope you are holding the, you're writing down the different submissions. So let's see. The goal here was to do something with Web3ui Kit. So this project seems to be some kind of NFT box. Yeah. Get started. So these are the components. Let me first tell you what Web3ui Kit is for all of you who currently don't know. Web3ui Kit is a library that we've done for Web3ui, because Web3ui, it's looking at the hackathons, which I'm a part of a lot. UI is so difficult for people, especially if you want to build things quickly. There is no good UI library. So we built Web3ui Kit and we open sourced it. So for example, you can connect your wallet easily and it's just connect button, all right? You have a React component connect button, and that's it. This is what Quadasau used here, as you can see. And there are a bunch of other different components. And we're adding components here all the time. This is the UI library that we're also using internally. So we thought it would be a nice thing to open source it fully so that the whole community can embrace it and help, and most importantly, help projects, especially if you are building something in the hackathon, you build something fast, you need the Web3 UI library, and Web3ui Kit is the perfect choice for that. So that's really was the challenge of this week, to build something using Web3ui Kit. But anyway, you connect your account by connecting wallet. Sign in, check. Your NFT box, let's see. Do we have some kind of NFT? Okay. The wallet. Yes. Ah, you can see all your NFTs, I guess. Yes, it's the same wallet as logged in. Basically, NFT dashboard, where you can see all your NFTs. Build space, Square NFT, all the different NFTs made with Moralis 1, 2, 3. Ah, and then you can switch the views from squares to list. Yeah, good start. Look, good start, solid project. And of course, what is the opportunity here? Let's say that you build something like this. How can you monetize it? How can you make something of it? Well, just like Zerion, just like Zapperfy, build entire business around the dashboard of assets with tokens, with DeFi. Of course, there are many opportunities to build a business or some kind of app around the dashboard of NFTs. Maybe you can allow your users to trade NFTs or to upgrade them or to do something or stake them through your UI. Because there are many different ways you can stake NFT. I know Superfarmer is going to have NFT staking, but it's going to be complicated. It's going to be many websites. What if you had one website where you can log in, you can see all your NFTs, you can stake them, do different things? Or maybe you can see all of the different marketplaces aggregated in one dashboard. So you want to sell your NFT, and you sell it basically, it gets placed on all of the different marketplaces at the same time. Anyway, just giving you some inspiration, because many people are like, so what now? You know, what now? I have done the simple app, I can show my NFT, so what now? You know, they cannot even think a bit to see the opportunity. So I'm here giving you some free alpha, what can be done, because it's important that you see that this space is so early. Even if you build something quickly that is useful, for example, for the NFT community, it's very useful to see your NFTs and to make sense of them, because that's the big problem. You have all of the NFTs. How do you view them? You view them on Rarible, but the problem with Rarible or OpenSea is so much garbage there. And I think there's a lot of room for applications that are NFTs in a specific niche. So OpenSea, in a big picture, it can be garbage as a user, because there's so many different NFTs and collections and different communities, but it's not relevant to you. When I see someone's OpenSea profile, it doesn't mean anything to me, because I don't know what projects they have. I'm not familiar with the projects they have. I don't know anything about their projects. If I have an NFT, I only want to see other people that have the same type of NFT. For example, if I have a Moralis mage, I know what this Moralis mage means. So if I see you having the same, then I can make sense of it. Okay, it's more relevant to me. So I think that's a big opportunity in NFT spaces, to make marketplaces, to make communities, to make dashboards specific to niches. Because otherwise NFTs, I mean, it's just pictures online, okay? You have JPEGs, all right? So if I come to a website, there's a bunch of JPEGs. Look, I don't know what they are. I need my community, my JPEGs, okay? Anyway, that was the first one, QnA. Very quality one. I like that it's very, yeah, I mean, it's a very end-to-end, so to speak. There is a full use case. Okay, next, let's see. We have what? Also with Web3ui Kit, I can see instantly based on the buttons. Let's see. Welcome. Upvote your favorite NFTs from multiple connections. Your votes will be recorded. Oh, so this is like hot or not for NFTs. Got it. Okay. Next. Connect wallet. Click it. There you go. As you can see, very familiar interface. Sign in with MetaMask. You see all your NFT. Here is based on collections. Okay. So this is already better. I like this. I like this because I don't just get a bunch of NFTs from everywhere. I get them based on collection. I like that. All the pictures are loading. Bam, 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 bam. Perfect. I click on it. And I can upvote or downvote. Hot or not. Cool app. Cool app. Perfect. Perfect. So Julian NFTs is the second of our contestants. And this is hot or not for NFTs. There you go. And then it's a bit funny one, which is basically Moralis. Big shout out to John. He said, not sure if it qualifies. He was gonna do OpenSea clone, but then he did a Moralis clone. I think it's funny. He cloned Moralis using Moralis. So you see the server is like, you know, Adidas, and then you go to Turkey and there is Abibas, you know, Abibas. Or, you know, there is Pepsi, but then you go to some I don't know why I'm thinking about Turkey. Turkey, like, you guys like all of this fake stuff. Anyway, you have Pepsi and then you have Bebsi with B, okay? This is Moralis, but maybe it is Boralis or something. Which is the same, but almost, alright? Anyway, let's see. Servers, okay, perfect. Nice. So can I create a new server or something? Ah, Web3 API. Okay. Well, what can you say? This is Abibas for sure. Can you create a new server? Anyway, good try. What can I say? Cloning Moralis with Moralis, good try. Yeah, perfect, guys. So we have 3 contestants. Cloning Moralis with Moralis from John versus. We have Hot or Not from Julian NFTs. And finally, we have the NFT box by Quadasao, basically just seeing your NFTs. So guys, on that note, we're gonna vote. So Kreshimir is gonna create a voting right here. And we have Nikes, like Nike, exactly. Exactly, Berkey. Moralis with the Z. Okay, Kreshimir, let's do a poll here and let's everyone vote. If you're watching this, go to weekly challenge on Discord and start voting. So the winner here, so you gotta vote 1, 2, or 3 using emojis. All right, 1, 2, or 3, and based on this, we're gonna select the winner. Moralis. Okay, guys, all of you who are watching, go to Discord, and if you're not in Discord, go to moralis.io/mage and join, and then go to weekly challenge and vote. I need you to vote here. Okay, you need to click the different emojis. You gotta vote. All right, go and vote right now if you're watching this. Don't wait. Go to the polls. Go to the polls. Moralis, add Tron. Yeah, I mean, we could add Tron. We're looking at some different new chains. We added, like I said, Solana recently to API. We are taking our time with the next one because we are restructuring some things on the back end. But of course, in a few months, we're going to be back to adding new chains. It's going to be very important. But as we grow, we also had to focus a lot on the back end. You know that we went from 0 to 100,000 developers last year. I mean, everything has 10x. Our targets have 10x. Everything has 10x. So that's why we have spent some time on the back end, and that's why last chain we added fully was Phantom, and then we also added the Solana integration in the API. But soon we're gonna be back to more chains. Does Moralis have any blockchain Oracle? Not too sure what you mean there. You have to use, if you want oracles, you need to use a Chainlink, and that's the way to get real data from the real world into your smart contracts. Velas blockchain, haven't even heard a lot. Haven't heard a lot about that. But if you want us to add a blockchain, you can write in roadmap.moralis.io and also inform the team. Inform the team of that blockchain. Ivan, what about Postgres? Nitro. So when it comes to Nitro, it is live. Nitro is live, and we decided to keep Mongo. Let me tell you why. So we did think, should we go to Postgres or not? And for a while, we thought that Postgres could be a good idea, but we changed it. We changed it, and here's the reason. Because it's all about the use case. You know, Postgres is good at some things, and Mongo is good at other things. And Mongo is great at writes, okay? If you want to write a lot to your database, you need Mongo. So the reason why Mongo is way better at writes is because it has no overhead, okay? Has no overhead. What overhead does Postgres have? It has ACID. In Postgres, you have ACID rules that it is to force. And in our use case, for example, where we have Solana, we have Binance Chain, we need to write a lot of data into the databases of the dapps. It can be 100,000 writes in a few seconds. It can easily happen because you can have, if you have a dapp, let's say, and you want to sync history for your users, and you get 1,000 users to join, and all of them have, 200 transactions, and they join at the same time because they want to claim your NFTs or something, and you need to analyze their data. You can easily end up inserting like 100,000 records in a few seconds, and it happens all the time. So writes need to be very fast. So that's the big use case of blockchain. It's big data, and writes need to be extremely fast. But also, with Mongo, it's easier to replicate it. It's easier to have high availability and easily replicate. Now, the downside is if you have your data split up in different classes. With Mongo, it's not good to do joins. Okay, and this is where we were thinking, is this a use case or not? And we ended up thinking that it's up to the developer to structure the data in a way where you don't have to do joins. So that's also why we removed the balances and owners from the database as classes, because that forced you to do joins. Instead, you can structure your data correctly using Moralis, which underneath uses Mongo, so that data that is shown together, okay? So data that is shown together is stored together. What does it mean? It means that instead of having your transactions in a separate table, let's say, or your balances, so transactions is not a good example. Instead of having your balances of your users in a separate table and your users in a separate table, and you want to show the users and the balances at the same time, instead you store the balances in the user row as an object, because it's going to be fetched instantly. You basically ensure that whatever is shown together is stored together. And this is the golden rule of Mongo, that we are here to give you data fast. We are here to serve the data fast, but you need to store it in a way that is servable fast. And you compromise the ACID rules. So for example, if data that is shown together is stored together, you might have some duplicates. You might have, for example, all the NFTs of a user stored together with the user, because you need to show them together when you show a user. You show a user, you need to show all of their NFTs. But also, you may put all of the NFTs and all collections. You might have a collection, and then you may want to save all of the NFTs for that collection also in the same row, and then you might have users and NFTs in the same row. So you might have a bit of duplication. So when something changes, you will have eventual consistency. What does it mean? It means that you need to change in different places. So it will not be instant. It's going to be a few operations here and there. You're not going to have ACID rules. So it's actually very different use cases with Postgres and Mongo. And but the main thing is that because blockchain itself is heavy writes, heavy reads. Like, it's very heavy writes, okay? It's very heavy writes. And you don't want any overhead. So yeah, and this was already months ago that I think it was in November that we spoke about Postgres, but we also removed it quite quickly from the plan based on these reasons that I described. So I hope it makes sense. And Moralis Nitro is released. It's been released for quite some time. And it's when it comes to syncing events very fast, when it comes to you importing a bunch of data from a bunch of different users very fast. And now it's up to you where and how you want to fetch the balances, because we removed those tables if you saw it. So when the user logs in, for example, you could call the Web3 API and fetch their balances and put into the user row, for example, if that's your use case. So it's up to dev. Mongo v4 is ACID compliant. Yeah, I mean, maybe it is ACID compliant, but we don't want that. I mean, that's the thing. If some version of Mongo, like you say, is ACID compliant, it's overhead. I mean, we don't want overhead. When we insert millions of rows into a database, we want to do it without overhead. We don't want ACID. That's the thing. We don't want it. And ACID is good for other use cases. I mean, if you have, let's say, some kind of application where you absolutely need to ensure that whatever you update, it's instantly updated everywhere, and you want to, if you remove something like some relation, it's all enforced across the whole stack, it's a bit different, yeah. But each tech, each tech is good for different things. And when Moralis is open source, you can use Postgres as well, because it does work. Moralis does work with Postgres. On that note, so when it comes to joins with aggregate pipelines, you should avoid them. That's the thing. In Mongo, you should avoid using joins with aggregate pipelines. It works, but the performance of that is not going to be good long term as your data set scales. It's possible. I mean, Mongo does have aggregate pipeline. It works. But the whole idea is that you store data that is shown together. So if you need to do some aggregate stuff, don't do it. Already, when you insert the data, insert it in a way so that when you retrieve it, it's already stored together. So if there's anything you take away from this talk when it comes to Mongo and thus Moralis database, things that are stored together, things that need to be shown together, stored together, okay? Bam, bam. That's the goal, okay? No aggregation. I mean, that's you don't want to use that. It's possible in Mongo, but it's not gonna be good. The scalability of that is not good. Yeah. Instead, when you insert something, it can be many different things. For example, like a simple example is that when you have a user logs in, you can fetch their balances, their NFTs, and you can store them in the user row. So that when somebody fetches the user, they already get everything in one call. Something else can be that you have some data about your smart contract, some kind of event, and when it happens, you already store it wherever it needs to be stored, so that if somebody reads, they have all the data, they have full data in one call. Anyway, guys, that's in terms of shown together, stored together. Finally, we need to come up with a challenge for next week because this week we had Web3ui Kit, and the winner of this week is the winner of this week. Oh, it's a tie. Damn, it's a tie. Does Moralis support on exactly? Moralis, yes. Okay, guys, can someone go and vote for some? I mean, it is nice with Moralis, but come on. I mean, it's. Personally, I like Julian's more, out of them. See, Julian wins, Big shout out to John, by the way. I mean, it's a fun project, but it's not production ready. At least this Hot or Not is production ready, okay? But yeah, Moralis is the funniest thing. Okay, guys. See, it's... I think, oh sorry, Julian, exactly, Julian, Big shout out to John, by the way. I think was it last time he also kind of almost made it, but not, I think. Okay, we're ending this in 1 minute, the poll here. I've built an app using Moralis. Okay, so look, but old code I'm trying to get convert. So Steven, if you want to get help to convert to Nitro, if that's what you're talking about, we have a chat here. Here, legacy to Nitro migration. Find this chat, Legacy to Nitro Migration, and you can ask for help here, and CryptoKid will help you. Postgres is good for developing triggers in your database, but I see why Mongo... Yeah, exactly. Postgres has many great... Sure. But the question is, what should be the next challenge? And this is always interesting if you guys have any ideas. What can be a next good challenge to build with Moralis? And there are many different choices because we have our Unity. By the way, I hope you've seen our Unity tutorials because they are next level. I mean, if there's anything next level, it is this Unity tutorials that David from our team has been doing. He's been doing this Web3 RuneScape. Let me, by the way, sure you can hear this. Output. Here, look at this. Have you seen this? I hope you have.
Call it that.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, it's a lot you can do with Unity. Crazy. Also very easy because we also show you how to do multiplayer. So you can log in several people with your wallets. You can see each other in the game, walk around. But yeah, I mean, this one is crazy. Then we had the OpenSea. We have, oh yeah, we have the Metaverse contract. Oh, this one from last week, cloning Amazon. Hope you followed this one as well. Basically, how to clone Amazon and add Web3 payments to it. We do it from scratch. Sound. Oh yeah, I think sound was like noise cancelled. It was too quiet. Yeah. Okay, guys, any ideas what could be nice for next week's hackathon? Next week's week challenge? I mean, it would be very nice to do something with Unity, or we could do something with like the logins we have, so you guys can try the Web3 auth or Magic. Let's actually do that, guys. I mean, let's do a simple one. So basically, for next week's challenge, you have to use Web3 auth or Magic in order to log in your users. You need to experience this yourself. If you go to docs, you go to users, you go to Web3 authentication, you see here Web3 auth and you see Magic. So these two. Try these two authentication methods and see how easy it is to integrate with Moralis. These two authentication methods. And this will change the way you see at Web3. Because, yeah, I mean, you will understand how easy it is to add any authentication to Moralis. And you can even add custom auth. But it's some kind of special provider. Let's use that. Try that so you truly understand it. And basically, what it will be is that people can log in with their socials, like with their Twitter, and it's a wallet, okay? You can sign transactions, you can send transactions, you can give them assets, and so on and so forth. So that is the challenge for next week. Let me write it, by the way. In weekly challenge. Oh, Julian. Yes, Julian, big congrats. So Julian is the winner. Choose web auth or Magic integration in Moralis. record after with the recording. And we will have merch. I see people asking about merch. So, Krashimir, you can already now put the merch code in our weekly challenge chat. So $100 to 10 people. $100 for free to 10 first people that use the merch code in the weekly challenge Discord. And of course, you can buy a shirt like this. I mean, I recommend this one. I recommend this nice pajama shorts. They're so nice. They're very nice. You should definitely get one. And when you get the merch, post a picture of yourself. Okay? Equip it and post a selfie. Don't post the merch lying on the bed. I mean, some people say, hey, you know, thanks Moralis, here's like shirt lying on the bed. We want personal pictures that we can retweet, that we can share with the community. Personal pictures. To get the merch, it's your responsibility to equip it, to take a picture, to tweet it, tag us, okay? and now the merch code is gonna be in Moralis Discord in weekly challenge. So go there if you are not there yet. Krashimir, please confirm that you've heard that so we can end this episode. And guys, I thank you a lot for being here yet again, contributing to the stream. It was fantastic, very, very fun as always being here with you. Tijan cannot use this. It's enough. You cannot get more merch. You have too many merches already. Tijan, do you have this pink or blue one? This ones? Because you need, that one you need to get. I allow you to get that one if you haven't yet. See, Krashimir is writing ready for the merch hunt. Guys, you gotta be ready. I mean, these things, they disappear quickly. These things, they go away very, very quickly. Okay, Krashimir, let's do it. 10 first people that use it on merge.moralis.io. You gotta go to merge.moralis.io. You gotta load your bag. Nice. Stream is interesting. That's good. Thanks, man. Thanks. I like this frog blob. What is this? Pepe Pogardito. What is it? Ord. Tijan has a boutique. Come on, Krashimir. Time to post. Time to post. Oh, I like this one also. What is this? Like dancing rune, RuneScape noob, level 3. Have you seen this? Level 3 noob. Or bot account, most likely. There we go. Okay, the code is TechStack2022. Get 100% off the purchase at merch store. 10 people only. Hurry up. Go, 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 guys. This is the time. You gotta get it. You either get it or you don't get it. On that note, guys, I thank you very much. See you all next week. Smash the like and goodbye, guys. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.